How can we converge any image type into a 3D mesh without modeling it in Blender? Alright, so we got our Fanta logo here. I'd like to drag it into Blender. So here we are in Blender 5. I'd like to start by selecting everything. You can press X and delete all the rest. And after that, I'd like to press 7 so that we can go to the top. And we can simply drag that logo and drop it here. Also, I'd like to align it, make it to the center. So you can press N, jump to the item. Click on the item and we can left click, drag down, and we can press 0, press enter so that we can have it centered. Alright, so the next step is going to be to convert our image into plane. So we can left click on it and we can right click and convert to mesh plane. And we can just click on OK. So after that, we have to add the displace modifier. So we can just left click on it and jump to the modifiers here and we can add displace modifier here. Alright, so we got it. And after that, we have to load our image texture. So down here into the texture properties, we can add a new image texture and we can just open and we can double click on our logo that we got here. So after that, in order to see it working, so we have to subdivide our plane. So with it selected, we can switch to the edit mode and we can try Ctrl E and subdivide. And on the bottom here, we can increase that subdivision up. So let's say 30 and we can go back to the object mode. All right, so we got the displace modifier working, but we have to change this setting. Let me just go back here to the modifiers. So for the coordinates, instead of local, let's switch it back to UV. So now we have only one texture of that logo. So I can also invert the strength up, something like minus 0.5. And next what we need to do, we have to add more subdivisions. So we can switch to the edit mode, try Ctrl E, subdivide, and we can increase that number of cuts to something like 8 or even 9. Go back to the object mode, there we go. Let me just go to the other side. So we can add one more subdivision. So on the edit mode, Ctrl E, subdivide one more, go back to the object mode. There we go. So now it's pretty much clean. All right, so the next step is going to be to optimize the shape of our logo because it's not perfect. You can see this wobbling, this messy geometry. So first what we can do, we can apply the displace modifier first. So here we can just click on apply. All right, so now it's applied and we can get rid of the base so that we can remove this and one side space. So we can press 1 to be facing front on the edit mode. So we can press Z, switch to the wireframe so that we can be able to grab everything. And we can select the bottom, press X and delete those vertices. So now we got that part. Let me just go back to the object mode to take a look at it. So I'd like to separate this part from the rest. Also, it's gonna be better if we can bring our logo here and keep an eye on it. So let me just switch here to the image editor and we can bring the logo. All right, so we got it. All right, so after that, we have to separate each part alone because this part here doesn't belong to, so it's connected, but it needs to be separated, this part here. So the way to extract it, let me just show you the way. I'm gonna be on the edit mode, we can select these parts, we can press L to grab this part here, and we can flatten this section. We can try SZ and press 0 to flatten it. Also, we can press H to hide it. All right, so for the rest, we got this part here. Let me just press X and delete it. So it's this R here, we don't gonna need it. Let me just switch to the wireframe and delete it like this. After that, we have to extract the bottom again, the bottom base. We can press 1 and let me select only the bottom from here. So we can separate it from the rest, it's connected here. So if we press V, so we cannot rip the faces, but we can do it another way. Let me try here S. So you can try SZ, press 0 to have it flat. And after that, we can press P to separate it. All right, so we got this part. We can press P to separate selection. We have to separate it from the rest. And for this leaf, we can just try SZ and press 0 to have it flat. So now we got the leaf, which is separated. We got the base. So this is the base here. And we got the text. So from now we can just join everything together. Let me just select this part here, shift select this, and we can try Ctrl J. So J as join. So now it's one piece. So the next step is going to be to extract only this edge because we don't need to have this dense geometry at the center. It serves no purpose. So on the edit mode, we can press, so here it's still hidden. So if you want to bring it back, you can press Alt and H to bring back all the hidden parts. So you can press A to select everything and we can try E to extrude up like this. And after that, we can select only the sharp edges So let me just go to select, and we can select sharp edges like this. So that's nice. Also, I'd like to get rid of the base. So you can press 1, press B and shift, and let's deselect the base or the bottom like this. We can press shift D to duplicate this part, and we can take it to the right side here. After that, we can just press P to separate selection. So now this part is separated. Also, I'd like to go back to the object mode, and we can just delete this part. We don't need it. Alright, so now let's just focus on this. So here what we can do, we can press 7 to go to the top, and let me just smooth out this geometry. So we can just select our geometry here, and we can add, inside the modifiers, we can add the smooth modifier. This one right here, and we can take that factor a little bit up. Something here, and we can increase the repeat iterations to, let's say, 5 or 6. I think we need to add it even more. Okay, something here, and what about 25? Okay, so now it looks better. We can take it even up. Let's say 35. Nice. And now we can just apply the smooth modifier. And the next step is gonna be to, so if you switch to the edit mode, you're gonna see that the geometry is dense. We have a lot of geometry here. So what we can do, we can press A to select everything, jump to edge, and unsubdivide. We can unsubdivide 3 times. I think 3 is gonna be enough. Yeah, we don't want to distort the logo. So after that, we have to start the filling process. So let me just start with the base. We can select these 2 parts. We can press F to fill them. Also, we can press Z, switch to the solid so that we can keep an eye on the shape. Here for this leaf, you can just extrude it up. Press Z, take it a little bit up. Or actually, we have to fill it first. Let me just revert back. Can press L to grab it. Why do we have 2 leaves? Can just delete this one here. Press X, delete it. Let me just focus on this. We can press F to fill it. Okay, we're gonna extrude it later. No, don't worry about that. Also, we can, for example, take it just a bit up to give it some depth, like this. Take it a little bit up. And for the text, I'm gonna just select all these letters, and you can just press F. Alright, so we got that. Alright, so next what we need to do, we need to add the solidify modifier so that we can give this plane some depth. So we did select it. Let's add inside the modifiers. So here I'm inside the modifiers. We can add the solidify modifier. And we can increase that thickness up, something like 0.5. Maybe that's a little bit too much. So 0.3 is gonna do it. And we can inverse. Let me just press L to grab the N, Shift N, and push it to the inside. Okay, also for this leaf, we can take it a little bit up. But why it's not... I think it's separated. Let me just take a look at it. Nope. Yeah, I think here, let me just find a way. So I think we can press X, delete only faces. There we go. So now it's working. So we had 2 faces at the same time. Let me just press L to grab the entire unit, and we can drag it a little bit inside. Okay, so now it's obvious. All right, so the last step, I'd like to add some beveling here so that we can make this part not sharp. So let's add a new modifier. It's gonna be the bevel modifier. So it's not working. So I think we have some residues here. You can see that. So on the edit mode, let me just switch the vertex. Can press A, and let me just find it. Or actually what we can do, we can press M, merge by distance. And let's use this to clean up our mesh. We can just reduce the merging distance down to something like 0.01. Okay, or even up. Or about 2 here. Okay, so let's go back to the object mode. So now you can see that the beveling is working. We got the beveling here. We can just increase that. Let me just find it. The bevel, we can increase that segments up to, let's say, 5. And we can select our mesh to right click and shade auto smooth. Alright, so now we're good. Also for this problem, we got some random lines. So I think it has to do with the solidify. Let me just click on this even thickness. So it's better. It's not outside. Also here we can just get rid of this vertex. There we go. So now we're good. Alright, so we converted our logo. So the last step that we have to do is to texture it. So to texture it, we can press, let me just, yes, this is our logo. We can press 7 here. And also I'd like to split my window from here. We can just split it to 2 parts. So the left window is going to be for the UV editor. So we can select our logo, switch to the edit mode, press A to select everything, try U, and we can project from view bounds like this. Or actually, so the view bound, it's not centered. So what we can do, we can press U and project from view, and we can just scale it up, and it's gonna match perfectly our logo. So let me just center it. For example, here, you can scale it just a bit up, take it a little bit up, and basically we got it. So now we're good. So here, if we switch to the material preview, you're gonna see that our logo is textured. We can just do right click, shade auto smooth, and we're good to go. So as a final step, we can tweak this logo just a bit. So inside the modifiers, inside the materials, we can take the metallic all the way to 1 and reduce the roughness a little bit down. Actually, the metallic, let me just put it to 7 or actually 0.6. Also here, I think shade flat is gonna be better. Okay, so there we go. So we got our logo. We converted it from 2D to 3D in Blender without modeling it.